Hello, hello! Pete'sPacks here with our fourth pre-release kit from Guilds of Ravnica. This is a Dimir kit. So let's get into this and see what we come up with. Now, as with the others, I am treating this as though I were actually at a pre-release and going through how I would build. We've got Secrets, Shadows, Silence. We have this fantastic Dimir spin down. Very nice. Add that to our collection. We've got stuff, little insert. Ritual of Soot. Ooh. Okay. Got our token with the code on it. Fighter. Alright, let's see what's in our seeded pack. We obviously have Ritual of Soot as our promo, which would have been playable. So we've got Ritual of Soot, Dimir Locket. It's good to have a couple of lockets. Thought Erasure, very nice. Very strong in constructed, not so strong in sealed, but yeah, never know. Might consider playing it. Night Veil Sprite, very strong in sealed. It's pretty good overall too. Disinformation Campaign. This is a good one. Reusable effect that makes your opponent discard and gives you card advantage. Really strong. Out of Night. It's kind of meh. Veiled Shadow. It's alright, but not the best. Disdainful Stroke. Probably not playing that, but we'll see. Passwall Adept. Kind of a sleeper card in the set. Very strong. Dimir Informant. Also very strong. Severed Strands. Great piece of removal. Watcher in the Mist. Solid overall. It's a nice 3/4 flyer for 5. Dead Weight is a great removal. And then Spinal Centipede, kind of meh. And our Dimir Guildgate. Right. Let's go up to our higher view so we can get a better overall view of what we're doing and get into pack 1. Nice clean pack open on that one. It's actually one of the few arts that I don't have an empty for. Save that. We have Radical Idea. Goblin Locksmith. Loxodon Restorer. Probably not playing that, but never know. Crawl Foragers. Pretty good card in this set. Moodmark Painter. Nice. Ori Okapi. Or Okapi. Ori Okapi. Another Veiled Shade. Muse Drake. Mediocre. Gateway Plaza. Nice. Affectionate Endrick. Pretty good one. Flight of Equinaughts. Very strong flyer in white. Silent Dart. Midnight Reaper. Nice. We got that in our last box. Rhizome Lurker. Foil. Very nice. The second Dimir Guildgate. That's pretty solid. And an Elf Knight. Alright. Got a Wishcoin Crab, which is far better than it seems. Sure Strike. Only pulled 2 red cards so far. Color the Culprit. Dazzling Lights. Yeah, not the worst combat trick in this set. Moodmark Painter. Pax Favor. Veiled Shade number 3. Crawl Foragers number 2. Boros Locket. Siege Worm. Nice. Integrity and Intervention. Strong piece of removal. We probably won't be playing green or red-white. We might be splashing green. Grappling Sundew. It's a very nice little disruptive piece. Dragonauts. Nice. Hey, Overgrown Tomb. Not really what you want to see in sealed, but why not, right? And a Golgari Guildgate. That if we do end up splashing green, those two will allow us to have a lot more flexibility. We might splash for those two Crawl Foragers. They're just so strong. Funny thing about older packs is the older they get, the more brittle the plastic gets, which makes it really hard to save the packs sometimes. Another Collar the Culprit. Another Dazzling Lights. Fire Urchin. We're not getting much white or red, which is kind of good, because we're not really planning on playing either of them. Ledev Guardian, Urban Utopia, Artisan Bats, which is kind of a mediocre flyer. Portcullis Vine, Dowser of Lights, Parhelion Patrol, Garrison Sergeant, Beacon Bolt, we may consider playing. Swath Cutter Giant, probably not playing that. Street Riot. As long as it's your turn, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample. Nice. And we get a Steam Vents. Well, I mean, if we and an Is a Guildgate. Well, maybe if we want to splash, or we could even go, 4-color in this. We do have effectively the mana to support it. Getting 2 duels, while not great, would have paid for this sealed event just off of those two. So we have Torch Courier, Hunted Witness, Vigor Spore Worm, which is just an absolute beating in this format. Never Happened, Hypothesizzle. Draw 2 cards, then you may discard a non-land card. When you do, it's 4 damage to target creature. So, nice little combination of removal and card advantage there. We may consider splashing for that. Prey Upon, Gravitic Punch. It was almost a fling in this set. Dimir Locket. Our second one. Centaur Peacekeeper, Darkblade Agent. We're definitely playing that. Nightveil Predator. We would very likely consider playing this. It's very difficult to deal with. Inescapable Blaze, Inspiring Unicorn, and Assure Assemble. So not really what we're looking to do, but it is very powerful. Boros Guildgate and an Angel Token. Okay. And our last pack, let's see if we can get something other than our seeded pack that's in our colors. Kind of a tough sealed pool. Hunted Witness, Unexplained Disappearance, Vicious Rumors. So that actually has some interesting ideas. A second Vigor Spore Worm. We're probably splashing green. Erstwhile Trooper, Sky Knight Legionnaire, Whisper Agent. Nice. Probably going to be going for more of a tempo-y kind of deck with this. Sonic Assault, Rhizome Lurker, or Lurcher, rather. It's our second one. Chemster's Insight, Circuitous Root. That actually makes splashing a little easier. Dimir Spybug, very strong in sealed. And Venerated Luxodon. Great card, just not great for what we're doing. The Golgari Guildgate, very nice. All right, so this is a frustrating sealed pull. We're almost certainly not playing white. We got 2 collars and a Venerated Luxodon, which Luxodon is very strong, but the rest of the stuff we have in white is just so mediocre. Like, we've got 3 decent creatures, and that's it. Anything else we'd really want to play in this? So, we can just go ahead and exclude white from the very beginning. Means we can... Nope. 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 Okay. Now we have to make the tough decision. Probably not playing the Boros Gate. The real tough decisions now. Do we go 4-color, which is generally ill-advised, or do we go Grixis or Sultai? Based on the fact that we have 2 duels that we pulled and we have a ton of gates, I would consider going 4-color in this, with very light splashes for multicolored cards. Let's see what we have in red. So we're not playing Inescapable Blaze. We don't want any double-costed things. Torch Carrier, not really our thing. Street Riot is cool and all, but I don't think that's really where we want to be. If it gave haste, sure, but it doesn't. Fire Urchin, there's some arguments for taking like a Spells Matter kind of approach. Locksmith and Sure Strike, probably not. Gravitic Punch, I could see us playing. Possibly Fire Urchin. Okay, now let's look at our green. Solid candidates. Circuitous Root is always an option. Vigorous Worm, good. Prey Upon, probably not where we want to be. We have a second Vigor Spore Worm. Like, they're just an absolute beating in both cases. Portcullis Vine, probably not where we want to be. Urban Utopia is possible. Grappling Sundew, probably also not where we want to be. It could be an interesting splash. Siege Worm is a maybe. Crawl Foragers, very good. Pax Favor, eh. Affectionate Indrik is really interesting, and I'm not sure where we would want to be there. We'll consider it, and a second Crawl Foragers. Okay. Let's look at our blue. Kemster's Insight, always great. One of the best uncommons in the set. Unexplained Disappearance, good removal. We have 2 Dazzling Lights, which is really interesting. Both from a surveil perspective and from just overall. Wishcoin Crab, Muse Strike, probably not where we want to be. Radical Idea is good, but not the greatest. Watcher in the Mist is very solid. Dimir Informant, solid. Passwall, solid. Night Veil, solid. Probably not playing Disdainful Stroke. We can consider it, but actually we'll put that in our consideration pile. And we'll move Kemster's Insight to our spells. Okay, Dimir Spybug, we almost have to play. Like, it's so good. Having Flying and Menace just on its own, very strong. And you'll notice that our green stuff is almost entirely creatures. Root gets us from 4 to 6 immediately. And it's something to consider. I really like the double Vigor Spore Worm and the double Crawl Foragers. Let's switch those up. Alright. Vicious Rumors is alright. Never Happened is a sideboard card. Dowser of Lights is mediocre. Partisan Bats, mediocre. Veiled Shade is generally if you're going more 2-color. So probably not playing any of the 3 that we got there. I mean, a 2/2 for 3 is kind of rough, but it does pump. but probably not where we want to be when we have these giant things. Child of Night is just mediocre. Ritual of Soot is amazing. Moonmark Painter, Midnight Reaper are alright. Deadweight, Severed Strands, good. Spinal Centipede is good with Severed Strands. Alright, now we can look at these. Dimir Spybug, amazing. Sonic Assault is something we could consider. Just from the tempo play aspect. Whisper Agent is good. First World Trooper is interesting. Along with Rhizome Lurcher. Nightvale Predator, very strong. Darkblade Agent, very strong. Hypothesizzle is interesting, so it's Beacon Bolt. We Dragonauts falls into the same line. Rhizome Lurker, very strong. Disinformation Campaign is just so good. It's effectively 3. Thought Erasure, don't know. So we Dragonauts, considering the spells matter kind of list. Thought Erasure, I think we're just going to say, I think we're just going to pass on the Thought Erasure. Disinformation Campaign is so good. And we can consider these with the rest of our red stuff here. Rhizome Lurcher. This feels like almost like we're doing the same thing that happened last time. Alright, let's look at our lands. So we're kind of all over the place here, but we also have the lands to support being all over the place here. Locket. Definitely not playing the Boros Locket. Probably not playing Silent Dart. Got more removal than that. Second Dimir Locket. Alright, so we've got 2 Golgari Guild Gates, 2 Dimir Guild Gates, Gateway Plaza, and a Steam Vents, and an Overgrown Tomb. Route gets us 2 gates into play tapped. We can basically play the blue-red lands at no cost. We can play the blue-black, or the green-black lands at no cost, because we're core blue-black anyway. So that gives us 8 lands for fixing. This is going to be another heavy non-creature deck. Spinal Centipede, I think it's probably not where we want to be. Dazzling Lights surveils. So it actually works really well with our other stuff. Radical Idea, we don't really need. Disdainful Stroke we can have in our sideboard. Affectionate Indrik is higher than we really want compared to the other things. Erstwhile Trooper. Watcher in the Mist. Actually. Okay. Fire Urchin, we don't really care about. We're not trying to go off on a bunch of lands or a bunch of spells all at once. Just doesn't really fit with the rest of what we're doing. It looks like we want to be heavy removal and then just drop Haymakers. So Vicious Rumors, we can probably just pass on to begin with. Probably want to be somewhere around like 13 and 10 or 14 and 9 in creatures. Okay. So we've got a lot of cuts to make either way. We're really hoping to get the circuitous route in most games, because it looks like we want to accelerate from 4 to 6 as quickly as possible. Siege Worm, we're not really convoking much, so probably isn't where we want to be, because it doesn't look like we're doing a go wide strategy where that would be super helpful. Let's see, where are we at with creatures? So we've got 8, 12, 16, 19 creatures at the moment. Going that route, Severed Strands probably isn't the play. Dazzling Lights might be like our early kind of tempo-y plays. Alright, let's lay this out by CMC now. We've got our 8 lands. Got our 4s, 2s, 1s, 4, 3, 3, 3, 5, 4. Ritual really buys us a lot of time in a lot of instances. So interesting overall for how this is going to go. Hopefully that, see if we can make that a little more readable. Adjusting the camera, adjusting the light, so that you can actually read what these cards are. Okay. So, now that we've got our spells laid out by CMC, let's lay out our creatures. It's a 3. So I have to consider those. Four, 3, 5. 5. We are going to be heavy on the top end. Probably want to stop at 6. 4, 3, 2. Our 4s are looking kind of heavy, so we might trim a Mood Mark. Because Mood Mark and Vigor Spore do very similar things, in that they let us ramp into something big. Okay. I think we can trim a Mood Mark. We're going to be drawing a bunch of cards. So we're in a very interesting situation here with Gravitic Punch. Gravitic lets us do some really cool stuff, but we also just have to have a ton of mana in the same turn for it. If we really want to do something big, because it lets us, it basically lets us get through with Vigor Spore or something like that all at once. And it combos off with Mood Mark Painter as well. So it's kind of an interesting, and kind of an interesting setup there. So we're at this sort, we kind of have this tension here where we want Dimir Spybug and Night Veil Sprite early, so that those can feed off of each other, along with things like Disinformation Campaign, Dazzling Light, stuff like that. But then we want to get to our top end where we have like Vigor Spore Worm. I think we Dragonauts can probably... Well, hold on. When we cast an instant or sorcery, it gets +2/+0 till end of turn, and it's flying. So like that already fits into kind of stuff we're trying to do anyway. Okay. Let's trim a locket. Okay. So where are we at count-wise? We've got 5, 9, 13, 15, 18 creatures. Dead weight we don't need early on. Like it's really strong, actually. No. So we've got 14 spells, 18 creatures at the moment, so we need to cut down a bunch. 14 and 18, that's 32. We need to cut 9 cards. Alright, what if we cut one of the... See, we've got so much good stuff with our... I think Watcher is probably not good enough for where we are, although it is an amazing card. Night Veil is really good, but also really hard to cast. So I think we can trim that. We can trim 1 Dazzling Lights. Well, Dimir Spybug. Dazzling Lights is so good with Spybug, though. And it's so good with we Dragonauts. We can probably trim the Erstwhile Trooper. It's really strong, though. And it feeds our other stuff. Well, we've got a ton of Surveil, so we don't need to be discarding our cards anyway. Okay. Okay. So... Beacon Bolt and that. Really strong. So what are we looking to do? We're looking to play some early surveil threats, hopefully, or some early threats, and then a bunch of removal. Let's see, Dimir Locket feeds into Ritual, Circuitous Route, which we really want to hit 5 or 6 as fast as possible. Like, this is almost like a ramp deck, in a way. Alright, if we cut red, where does that get us? So we go, we take out Wee Dragonauts, Hypothesisal, Beacon Bolt, Sonic Assault. They're just fantastic. And Gravitic Punch. Where does that put us? That puts us at 10 non-creature spells, which is exactly where we want to be with that. Although we could go down 1 or 2. Like, we could go down the dead weight. So that's 9. 13, 20, 23. Actually, that's exactly it. So we could potentially swap back in some of the red, like have that be a sideboard strategy, drop the Steam Vents and is a Guild Gate, and then just go off of this. Like, that's actually fantastic. Yeah, I think this is where we would end up. Alternatively, we go more the tempo-y play. Like, the Grixis build is our tempo build, and this is our just more powerful overall build. So we end up with 7, 10, 14 creatures, 9 non-creature spells, tons of Surveil. So we've got 1, 2, 3 Surveil spells, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Surveil cards on top of that, with the Dimir Spy Bug and the Disinformation Campaign. Yeah, that looks fantastic. So I think this is where we would probably go. All right, so a little quicker this time. The deck that we ended up with is 2 Dazzling Lights, Unexplained Disappearance, Urban Utopia, Disinformation Campaign, Dimir Locket, Circuitous Route, Kemster's Insight, Ritual of Soot, Dimir Spybug, Passwall Adept, Night Veil Sprite, Darkblade Agent, Whisper Agent, Midnight Reaper, Dimir Informant, Rhizome Lurcher, so 2 light Rhizome Lurchers, Moodmark Painter, 2 Crawl Foragers, and 2 Vigor Spore Worm. Along with 2 Dimir Guild Gates, 2 Golgari Guild Gates, Overgrown Tomb, and Gateway Plaza. So this is my build of this. Let me know in the comments what you would have built, so we can compare notes and see where this would go. Well, thank you for joining me on this adventure with Guilds of Ravnica. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel in a non-monetary fashion. If you'd like to also help out in monetary fashion, we do have a Patreon. It's linked on the About page. It gives you access to some cool stuff, like our members-only Discord and shout-outs at the end of videos. Cool stuff like that. So, as always, until next time, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.